Chapter 45-39. Upon hearing Jiang Shaowei's words, Huamin fell silent. Mian, I think, after coming back from the dream, you've become a bit impulsive. You don't care about the consequences of your actions. Right. Dr. Jiang's comments are right. Zhu Lingling joined Jiang Shaowei in criticizing Huamin. Since they were best friends, they didn't hide anything from each other. That's because I lost Su Yu forever. Huamin bit his lip and said with a trembling voice. We're all sad about what happened to Su Yu. Mian, you have to know that you're not the only one who's sad. Wei Liao grew up with Lord Su. After he came back, he looked fine on the surface and even took over many of Imperial Star's affairs, but he hasn't been able to eat for days. He's only been drinking coffee every day and lost more than 10 pounds in a week. He's a man, so he won't cry out loud like us? Jiang Shaowei said emotionally. Huamin didn't say anything, but he heard everything. And Tang Chuan, you probably don't know, but after he came back, he's been drinking himself into a stupor every day. He doesn't even listen to Qin Ning. That day, he got into a fight with someone at a nightclub and was almost stabbed. Everyone knows about it now, and it was even photographed by tabloids and published on the entertainment section. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin and said word by word. Gao Ran doesn't have a deep relationship with Lord Su, but he knows that Lord Su saved everyone's lives this time. So, the atmosphere in our house is very tense. Zhu Lingling explained. Jiang Shaowei reached out and tucked Huamin in. And Pudding and Little Bean. They cried and threw tantrums? On the surface, it's all over, but Yunchu said that Pudding hasn't gone to bed until 2 a.m. these days. She said she can't sleep because she misses handsome Su. Upon hearing this, Huamin burst into tears again. Mian, you have to know that no one has forgotten about Su Yu. Everyone is as sad as you are, but we can't give up on ourselves. Su Yu sacrificed himself for the stable life we have now, so we have to cherish it even more. I believe that he wants everyone to be happy and not be sad every day. I know you're a Disney fan, so you must have seen the popular animation, Dream Quest. There's a line in it that I remember very well, and I'll give it to you now. The true death is when no one in the world remembers you. Before the memory of love disappears, please let us always remember Su Yu. Death is not the end of life, forgetting is. We won't forget him, right? Huamin nodded with tears in his eyes. I'll never forget him for the rest of my life. Never. Huamin was already crying. Zhu Lingling was also touched by Jiang Shaowei's words. However, Qin Chu soon returned, and the two of them didn't continue talking. Before she left, Jiang Shaowei reminded Huamin, think about what happened just now. I hope that before you make a decision, you'll think about Qin Chu, your in-laws, and Pudding and Little Bean. Thank you, Shaowei. Huamin was smart, so how could he not know what Jiang Shaowei meant? Huamian's decision to give the child to the Su family was indeed impulsive. He thought that after Jiang Shaowei left, Huamin would finally have some peace. However, he didn't expect that the last visitor would come. Sister Mian, I'm late. I hope I didn't disturb you. Han Yueao stood at the door with a bouquet of lilies in her hands. Chapter 45-40. No. Yao Yao, come in. Huamin waved his hand and called Han Yueao in. After talking with Jiang Shaowei and the others, he was indeed tired. But seeing Han Yueao, Huamin thought of many things. In fact, many things between Su Yu and Han Yueao happened in the dream and didn't happen in the real world. But whether it was in the dream or in reality, Han Yueao liked Su Yu. This was something everyone knew. Maybe only Su Yu didn't know. Or maybe Su Yu knew but never mentioned it. Sister Mian, congratulations on giving birth to a cute baby. I don't know what you need, so I bought 2 sets of new clothes when I passed by a maternity and baby store. Please don't mind. Han Yueao handed him 2 newborn gift boxes. Huamin didn't refuse and let Qin Chu take them. Then he thanked her. Thank you, Tio. Sister Mian, take good care of yourself. Don't think too much. I heard from Auntie Su that you're not in a good mental state recently. But you have to think about your health. A healthy body is the foundation of a revolution. I heard you're going back to work after your confinement? Yes, I'm going back to Southside to resume my old job. Huamin smiled slightly. I believe it's a benefit for many patients. After all, you're a genius doctor with medical ethics, Han Yueao praised. But no matter how good I am and how many people I can save, I can't save Su Yu. After Huamin said that, Han Yueao's eyes became sad. Yao Yao, do you hate me? Why do you ask, Sister Mian? All the women who like Su Yu hate me. Jian Tong, Zhao Qingya, and Zheng Rou. In short, they think Su Yu is blind to like me. After all, Su Yu has been so good to me, but I've never reciprocated. Do you want me to tell you the truth? Sister Mi. Han Yueao looked at Huamin and enunciated each word. They tell me. At this point, I won't blame you for anything you say, Huamin said calmly. Han Yueao shook her head. The truth is, I don't hate you at all. In fact, I like you very much. Huamian was slightly surprised, but she didn't see any hypocrisy in Han Yueao's eyes. She was afraid that Han Yueao meant what she said. Before Huamin could speak, Han Yueao said, When I heard about Su Yu, I thought you must be an unparalleled beauty. Then I found that Su Yu didn't like your looks, he liked your personality, your inner qualities, and your character. The more time I spend with you, the more I understand your rare and precious qualities. So, I think Su Yu isn't blind. He and President Qin both have the best taste in you in the world. I think it's his greatest pride to fall in love with someone as outstanding as you. Yao Yao. Huamin was surprised by Han Yueao's words. Sister Mian, the truth is, I really want to give birth to a child for Su Yu. I want to leave an heir for him. It's not that I'm noble, I'm selfish. I want to maintain a complicated relationship with Su Yu. But Master Lord Su's words reminded me. Even if I give birth to 10 children for Su Yu, so what if we're inextricably linked? He'll never fall in love with me, whether it's in a dream or in the real world, whether he's asleep or awake. Huamin suddenly found Han Yueao was very wise, emotional, and even magnanimous. Sister Mian, I've made up my mind. I'll stay at Imperial Star and continue to be a star. I'll wait and see when Su Yu will come back. Let me grow old while waiting, okay? Yao Yao. Do. Huamin wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. Han Yueao suddenly changed the topic. Sister Mian, I heard President Qin still owes you a grand wedding. Now that you've given birth to the baby and your figure has recovered, when are you getting married? Huamin was surprised by Han Yueao's question and didn't know how to answer. She glanced at Qin Chu, who wasn't far away. Chapter 45-41. Qin Chu answered for Huamin, Our wedding is cancelled. Cancelled? Han Yueao was surprised. We've been together since we were young. After all these years, we've relied on each other and experienced so much together. We've become an inseparable part of each other's lives. So, it doesn't matter to us whether we have a wedding or not. Mr. Qin cleverly avoided the topic of the wedding. Qin Chu knew it wasn't the best time to have a wedding. Huamin was still grieving over Su Yu's coma. What would the Su family think if they had a big wedding at this time? What would their friends think? Sure enough, Huamin was satisfied with Qin Chu's answer. She glanced at Qin Chu gratefully and didn't speak. President Qin is right. I really envy childhood sweethearts like you. Okay, Sister Mian, rest early. I'll come to see you another day. Han Yueao sat for a while and then stood up to leave. After Han Yueao left, Qin Chu returned to the ward and sat down on the bed. Are you hungry? Do you want me to cook something for you? Qin Chu looked at Huamin tenderly. Huamin didn't speak. She reached out her hands and hugged Qin Chu's neck tightly. Honey, thank you. Silly girl, you don't have to thank me. You're fine. That's more important than anything else. Qin Chu knew Huamin was thanking him for what he did. He gently patted her back to comfort her. 1 month later, Huamin's confinement was also Qin Yuyao's 1-month-old birthday. South Hill Manor hadn't been so lively in a long time. With lanterns and streamers everywhere, it was even livelier than during the New Year. Everyone came to congratulate them, including the Su family. Lord Su was in a good mood and wouldn't let go of the baby. Mr. Su drank a few more glasses of wine and even sang a Peking opera for everyone. Rick hugged his and Cece's daughter and turned into a daughter slave. Huamin's figure recovered rapidly after a month. She had already slimmed down from 128 pounds to 96 pounds. She wore an elegant yellow dress and a striped jacket, looking calm and elegant. Rick, her name is Little Jean, right? Huamin looked at the baby in Rick's arms. Yes, just like in the dream. She took Cece's surname and her full name is Jean. Rick said, "Do you want to be in-laws with us?" Huamin laughed. "Qin Chu mentioned it to me before, but I rejected him," Rick replied proudly. Huamin chuckled. "Why did you reject us? Little Jean is only a few days away from our Yuyao, and they're of the same social status. I think my daughter's eyes are bigger than your son's." Rick refused. "All right, you win." Huamin laughed until tears rolled down his cheeks. Time could heal all wounds. On such a joyous day, no one mentioned Suyu again. And Master Wu were also afraid of spoiling the fun, so they didn't attend the 1-month-old banquet. In the afternoon, while everyone was having afternoon tea in the room, Huamin held a champagne glass and walked to the balcony on the top floor, looking at the scenery in the distance. "Mommy, you're thinking about him, aren't you?" Huamin turned around when she heard the voice and saw Pudding dressed up. "Why aren't you taking a nap?" Huamin didn't answer her daughter's question. Instead, she looked at her gently. "I can't sleep. Mommy, I miss him a lot. What about you?" "Me too." Huamian squeezed out a smile, but there was a hint of bitterness in her smile. Then, Pudding continued in her childish voice. "Dream Chaser said that death isn't scary, forgetting is? So we'll always remember him, right?" "Yes," Huamin said and downed the champagne in her hand. "Mommy, I want to ask you a question on his behalf." Upon hearing this, Huamian tilted her head and looked at her daughter in surprise. Then, she heard Pudding ask in a serious tone, "All these years, have you ever loved him? Even a little?" In the end, Pudding saw that her mother didn't say anything, but the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Chapter 45-42. At the Su family's old residence. After the mysterious death of a certain military chief, Old Master Su retired early to recuperate. Although the higher-ups had invited him many times, the Old Master refused. After losing his beloved grandson, he seemed to have aged a lot overnight. No matter how majestic he used to be, he only wanted to live in seclusion. "Dad, Master Wu is here," Lady Su knocked on the door and said softly. "Let him in." Master Lord Su put down the teacup in his hand. Master Wu was wearing a green sweatshirt and an expensive bracelet from Suyu. Overall, Master Wu was much cleaner and tidier than before. Perhaps it was a habit he had developed after coming to Sea City. After Master Wu entered, he nodded slightly at the Old Master. "Sit." Lady Su knew that the Old Master must have something important to say to Master Wu, so she left. In the study of the Su family's old residence. At first, the Old Master was just chatting with Master Wu, but then, the two of them almost finished a pot of Longjing tea. Finally, Master Lord Su said, "Little Wu, I know you're quite capable. Otherwise, my arrogant grandson wouldn't be willing to kowtow and acknowledge you as his master." No. Just think of me as a swindler." Master Wu smiled mischievously. "To be honest, you should know why I called you here today." "I know. It's about Suyu." Master Wu knew very well. Suyu's matter had become a thorn in the Su family's heart. Suyu's coma had become everyone's injury. Seeing that he had made it so clear, Lord Su nodded. "That's right, it's about you. Old Master, with all due respect, I really can't save Suyu. Maybe there's such an expert in this world, but my ability is limited. Even if you exhaust me to death, I can't find an exit to get Suyu out. I'm really sorry." Before the Old Master could speak, Master Wu explained everything. Suyu had been in a coma for more than a year. Huamin's second child could already walk. For more than a year, everyone went to see Suyu almost every week, as if he was really asleep. Huamin insisted on going every week. He would talk to Suyu alone for a while. Sometimes she would bring the twins, and sometimes she would carry her second child. And Master Wu had been living in Suyu's private villa and couldn't bear to leave, even though they knew that Suyu wouldn't wake up. In the past year or so, Almost everyone had asked Master Wu this question. This included Huamin. She had even said that she wanted to accompany Su Yu in his dreams. But Master Wu was really helpless. When Su Yu entered the dream for the second time, Master Wu had already warned him seriously and told him all the consequences. However, Su Yu still did it without any regrets. He knew what the consequences would be, but he still did it. This was his own choice. It was understandable that everyone wanted to save him. However, Master Wu really couldn't do it, so he felt that it was better to talk things out when the old master wanted to see him alone. Don't give everyone hope. Wu, you might have misunderstood. I didn't ask you to come here today to save you. I know you don't have the ability, so I won't make things difficult for you. Old master, then you are? Master Wu was a little surprised as he looked at the white-haired old man. I actually want to ask you a question. Go ahead. If he dies in the real world, then will his soul leave the dream? Master Lord Su asked word by word with a heavy expression. Master Wu was shocked when he heard this. Old master, what do you mean? Chapter 45-43. Master Lord Su glanced at Master Wu. Answer my question first. Old master, to be honest, I don't know if it will happen, but the situation is like this. Su Yu isn't dead yet, he's just unconscious. You can think of it as his body is still there, but his soul is imprisoned in the nightmare world. That place is extremely desolate, and Su Yu is alone there. He won't age or die there. He can't leave. And if Su Yu's body is gone, or if he's dead, then he will be completely dead in the dream. As for the person who died in the nightmare, I don't know where his soul went. Of course, one thing is for sure. After he dies, his soul shouldn't belong to the dream world anymore. So what you're saying is, if we don't do anything and let you stay unconscious like this, he might be trapped forever. We're guarding a soulless body, and we might never see hope. But if he dies, there might be a different ending. Old master, you have to think twice. I know what you want to do, but the problem now is, Su Yu isn't dead, and his body is still there. Maybe when the time comes, or if he meets an expert, he might be able to be saved, but he might never wake up and be in a vegetative state forever, the old man interrupted. Master Wu said hurriedly, but if he really dies, then he'll disappear forever. His body won't be there, and his soul won't be there either. You and Su Yu will have nothing to do with each other anymore, whether he reincarnates or transmigrates to his previous life. In short, Su Yu will completely disappear from this world. I know, the old man lowered his head and said solemnly. Old master, you're not thinking of... Master Wu seemed to have guessed what the old man was thinking. That's what I think. I don't want to see you live like a piece of trash for the rest of his life. I'd rather start a new life for him. Even if he has nothing to do with me from now on and is no longer a member of the Su family, I don't want him to be alone in that barren place for the rest of his life. Compared to death, endless loneliness is scarier, isn't it? The old man's words shocked Master Wu so much that he couldn't say a word. As expected of an elder, as expected of a great figure. He had led soldiers for a lifetime, and his bones were firm and unyielding. Master Wu understood that in this world, the person who doted on Su Yu the most was probably the old master. He loved Su Yu more than anyone else, but it was because of this love that he could not watch his grandson become a vegetable for the rest of his life. Therefore, he was willing to part with his treasures. Then, do Yu's parents agree? After a while, Master Wu asked this question. I will discuss this matter with them. I called you here today to ask about the final result. If you put it that way, it's true. Although the method is a little cruel, it's undeniable that this is a method that isn't really a method. Perhaps, it's really better than him being in a vegetative state for the rest of his life? The night after Master Wu left, Master Lord Su called everyone over for a meeting. Everyone related to Su Yu was present. Huamin, Qin Chu, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling. Other than Cici and the children, who were brought to the United States by Rick, everyone else was here. Master Lord Su, everyone is here. You can announce it now. Qin Chu knew that Lord Su had something important to announce. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gathered so many people. The old man looked around and sighed slightly. I plan to euthanize you. His words shocked the entire crowd. Chapter 45-44. Master Lord Su, why? Huamin was almost crying. Everyone was thinking about how to save Su Yu, but Master Lord Su wanted to euthanize him. Was he still his biological grandfather? Huamin's question was indeed what everyone wanted to ask. Mian, don't be rash. Listen to Lord Su first. Qin Chu was the most rational. Although Lord Su was old, he wasn't muddle-headed at all. He had been high and mighty his entire life. What big decision had he not made? Why would he harm his grandson for no reason? Therefore, when everyone fell silent again, Lord Su repeated what he had said to Master Wu today. After hearing this, everyone fell silent again. Jiang Xiaowei calmed down first and asked, Master Lord Su, can you really be so heartless? Master Lord Su looked at everyone and said slowly, when I think about you being alone in that desolate place, I wish I was a heartless grandfather. So, today's decision wasn't rash. It's been a year. Everyone wants him to wake up, but we all know that he won't wake up. If this continues year after year, even if I die and you guys get old, you might not see the day you wakes up. When I think about him being alone in that place, my heart hurts. There's no grandfather in this world who doesn't love his grandson. I feel 100 times worse than you guys when I make this decision, but I have to make a prompt decision. After Lord Su finished speaking, no one said anything because they didn't know what to say. Huamin was already sobbing softly on Qin Chu's body. After giving birth to her second child, Huamin had been suffering from postpartum depression for a long time. Fortunately, Qin Chu accompanied her day and night. Only then did she slowly walk out of the shadows. However, she still didn't dare to mention Su Yu's name. This became her biggest weakness. Now that Lord Su wanted to euthanize Su Yu, it was equivalent to killing Su Yu. Although Su Yu hadn't woken up yet, his physical body was still there. At the very least, it gave everyone something to think about. However, if the patient was euthanized, the corpse would be cremated according to the rules of the family of a high-ranking official. Then he was buried in the cemetery in the northern suburbs. At that time, Su Yu would really not be able to come back. Or he would completely disappear from this world. Seeing that no one was speaking, he felt extremely sad. Mr. Su took off his glasses and wiped away his tears. As Yu's father, I have to say a few words. I understand that everyone is good to him and can't bear to part with him. Grandpa loves his grandson and you all know that. Although my father's decision is cruel, logically speaking, it might be Yu's last chance. So, I hope that everyone can agree and give us some strength so that we can make this decision and give you his final release. After hearing this, Lady Su fainted on the ground from crying. Huamin quickly helped Lady Su up and sent her to her room to rest like the nanny. After returning from the Su family, Huamin's heart was extremely heavy. He didn't say a word along the way and just kept looking out of the car window. Mian, if you don't want to, I'll talk to Lord Su later. Qin Chu knew that Huamin didn't want Su Yu to be euthanized. Don't. Since Lord Su has already made his decision, we shouldn't interfere. After all, this is the best way for Su Yu. Huamin tried hard to hold back his tears, but his heart was already filled with devastation. Chapter 45-45. The day Su Yu was euthanized was the beginning of May. Spring was already blooming in Sea City in the north, inside Su Yu's private mansion. Everyone was wearing black formal attire to send him off for the last time. Looking at Su Yu, who was still unconscious on the bed, Huamin had mixed feelings. Why don't I do it? Seeing that Huamin's heart softened and she couldn't do it, Qin Chu wanted to snatch the needle from her hand. Unexpectedly, Huamin dodged. The twins were taken out by Qin Chu's parents to play and avoided this scene. Huamin held a syringe in her hand, her fingers trembling. Master Wu couldn't bear it and turned his head away, not daring to look. Mian, you do it. Seeing that Huamin was unwilling to do anything, Lord Su shouted sternly. As expected of someone from the military, he was still bold. It was a military order. Huamin bit her lip. Then she walked over and lifted Su Yu's arm. She slowly injected the life-or-death drug into Su Yu's blood vessels. Then, everyone saw that Huamin's face was covered in tears. Perhaps no one knew how she felt at this moment. She thought back to many years ago, when she first met Su Yu. Su Yu had strained his ligaments in a car accident and was recuperating at Southside like a boss. At that time, so many young and beautiful nurses were giving Su Yu injections, but they were all chased out by Su Yu. There was even a nurse whose head was smashed by Su Yu with an ashtray. The situation was critical. As a nurse, Huamin had just gone to Southside. She was fearless and was used as a gun. She was sent directly to Su Yu's ward. With her courage and skills, she finally convinced Su Yu. As a result, Su Yu started to have feelings of ignorance towards her. Before meeting Huamin, Su Yu had many women. After meeting Huamin, Su Yu only liked Huamin. All of this originated from the injection he received in the hospital back then. Now, Huamin gave Su Yu the final injection, hoping to end his endless loneliness. Everyone hoped that this would allow Su Yu to escape from the nightmare. After the needle was inserted, she watched as Su Yu's lips gradually turned purple. Huamin felt his vision darken, then he lost consciousness. When Huamin woke up again, Su Yu's funeral had already ended. He was buried in the cemetery in the northern suburbs, a place with great scenery. For a long time, Huamin didn't dare to go. He didn't dare to face the fact that Su Yu was dead. It was about 18 months before Qingguogua could speak. When Qingguogua learned to speak, Huamin taught him to speak. Only then did she take the little guy to pay respects to Su Yu. Han Yueao also went to Su Yu's funeral. She wore a long black dress. That day, she dressed up beautifully. She had a smile on her face the entire time. She didn't cry. She told herself not to cry. She said that Su Yu ended his loneliness and escaped from the dream that trapped him. His soul was freed. This was a good thing, an excellent thing. After Su Yu died, the Su family moved. Perhaps they didn't dare to stay, or perhaps they were afraid that everyone would be worried. The Su family all moved to a small town in the south and lived a true rural life. Huamin and Qin Chu brought the 3 children to visit them every year. And entered Imperial Star and became the bodyguard of Han Yueao, who was extremely popular, to ensure her safety. Master Wu went to travel the world, and no one knew his whereabouts anymore. In the dream worldling in the desert, Su Yu didn't know how much time had passed. He even felt like these days were endless. Until one day, he suddenly felt his body become lighter. Then he kept ascending, and finally left this place. When he opened his eyes and woke up again, he saw the familiar ceiling. Chapter 45-46. Son, you're awake. You almost scared Mommy to death. The first thing Su Yu saw was that the woman leaning over his bed was actually, Mom? Are you here? Su Yu had been used to being alone in the nightmare world for a long time. He thought that he would always be alone. He didn't expect to see his mother when he opened his eyes. What kind of ecstasy was this? Are you stupid? Of course, I heard that you were in a car accident, so I immediately rushed over. Fortunately, you're fine, it's just a ligament strain. Car accident? Ligament strain? Su Yu was obviously completely dumbfounded. What was going on? His mother kept chattering, but Su Yu didn't have the patience to listen. He just reached out and wrapped his arms tightly around his mother's neck. I love you so much. Faced with her son's sudden confession, Lady Su was slightly stunned. Then she smiled with tears in her eyes and said with relief, You brat, you almost scared me to death. Now that you've died once, you know how precious life is. Let's see if you can still do it in the future. Do you want to play some Wang Ming race? Su Yu only smiled and didn't say anything. I didn't dare to tell your grandfather and father about this. Otherwise, they would definitely scold you. Thank you, Mom. You dote on me the most. All right, you just woke up. Rest well first. I'll go talk to your doctor about your situation, then I'll go home and make you something to eat. What do you want to eat? Sauerkraut dumplings, Su Yu said with a cheeky smile. You're greedy. Just you wait. Then, Lady Su walked out of the ward gracefully. Su Yu took a deep breath. What was going on? Wasn't he trapped in the nightmare world? Was he dreaming? That wasn't right. Master Wu said that in the nightmare world, one wouldn't age, die, be hungry, or thirsty. One wouldn't feel anything, just like a living dead. Naturally, he wouldn't be dreaming. So, what was going on? Before he could figure it out, the door was pushed open again. President Su, I heard about what happened to you as soon as I got off the plane. You scared me to death. Are you okay? Or are you hurt? Let me take a look. Just listening to the voice made one's scalp tingle. This coquettish voice was extremely recognizable. Su Yu turned his head. It was indeed Zhao Qingya. She was wearing a pair of brown sunglasses and holding a Hermes platinum bag. She walked over with her hips swaying. Don't touch me. Seeing her reach out to touch his hand, Su Yu hurriedly scolded her. President Su, what's wrong with you? Are you blaming me for being late? This is the earliest flight. Really, I swear I rushed over as soon as I heard about your accident. Zhao Qingya said, sobbing. Su Yu was a little confused. Then he seemed to have understood something. Zhao Qingya was still alive? And a celebrity at that? He had a ligament strain, car accident? Could it be that he had transmigrated? He had transmigrated to many years ago, when he first met Huamin. At that thought, Su Yu's heart started to race. If it was really this year, he should be able to see Huamin soon. At that thought, Su Yu couldn't wait to ask Zhao Qingya, what year is it now? 2016. Zhao Qingya was confused. Is the most advanced phone on the market 6S? Su Yu asked excitedly. Zhao Qingya nodded in a daze. Is this Southside Hospital? President Su. What's wrong? Zhao Qingya was scared out of her wits, thinking that Su Yu was possessed. Answer me, is this Southside Hospital? Su Yu asked anxiously. Chapter 45-47. Zhao Qingya quickly replied, this is Southside Hospital. President Su, please calm down. Looks like I'm really. Su Yu couldn't suppress his ecstasy. Why did Master Wu say that he would be trapped in a nightmare forever? Wasn't he back now? Could it be that his character was off the charts? President Su, go out first. I want to be alone for a while. President Su, get out? Yes. Seeing President Su's firm attitude, Zhao Qingya didn't dare to continue acting coquettishly. After all, she knew that this young master had a bad temper. After Zhao Qingya wobbled out, Su Yu wanted to get up and look for Huamin. However, his ligament was injured and he couldn't move his legs freely. At this moment, he smartly raised his hand. He pressed the emergency bell beside the bed. After 3 beeps, the phone rang. A young nurse immediately rushed into the ward. Young Master Su, what can I do for you? Where's Huamin? Tell her to come and see me. Su Yu felt his heart race. He never dared to think that he would have the chance to see Huamin again. Therefore, when he realized that he was back, the first thing he did was to look for Huamin. As for Tang Chuan and Old Wei, he wasn't in a hurry. He would slowly look for them. After all, they wouldn't be able to run away. Huamin? The nurse was stunned. Don't you have a nurse named Huamin here? There is one, but she's resting today. Tell her to come and see me immediately, Su Yu said excitedly. Young Master Su, Huamin is resting and went home. We don't have the right to ask her to come back. How about tomorrow? Tell your director to come here. Tell your director to come and see me. Hurry up, cut the crap. 15 minutes later, President Wu, who had just finished a meeting, was called to the ward by Su Yu. Then he made only one request. I want to see Huamin immediately, no matter what method you use. President Wu didn't know what relationship Su Yu had with this nurse named Huamin. But seeing how anxious and determined the crown prince was, he didn't dare to offend him. Therefore, he immediately called Huamin personally. Huamin was eating at home. Yang Meirong made scallion pancakes and tomato soup. Huamin was only halfway through her meal when she received a call from the director asking her to return to the hospital. Huamin reluctantly got up, not forgetting to take a biscuit in his hand before he left. Aren't you resting? Why do you still want to go? Mother asked. The director said that there's an emergency at the hospital. It's okay, Mom. You guys eat first? Don't wait for me to come back. I'll heat it up myself. Sis, be careful, Zhixin reminded her. No problem. Because President Wu repeatedly said that it was an emergency, Huamin took a taxi and said that the hospital would reimburse the taxi fare. Huamin stopped a taxi and went straight to Southside Recuperation Center. When she arrived at Southside, the nurse at the reception desk told her mysteriously, "Hurry up and go to young Master Su's room." Young Master Su? Is he the legendary patient with a bad temper? Huamin was confused and didn't have time to change into her white coat. Today, she wore a white casual jacket. Inside, she wore a simple short-sleeved t-shirt, a pair of light blue jeans, and Converse flats. She was also carrying a bag that was neither too big nor too small. It was Winnie the Pooh and looked like it was worth a few hundred yuan. Huamin pushed the door open and didn't have time to see clearly. She vaguely saw a tall and blurry figure pounce on her and hug her tightly. Chapter 45-48. No one knew how excited Suyu was at this moment. He was like a hungry wolf, pouncing on him because he was afraid that this was all a dream. He was afraid that when he woke up from this dream, all of this would be gone. Then he would have to go back to that damn desert? Huh? What are you doing? Huamin pushed him away forcefully. Then he looked at Suyu with disdain. Suyu, on the other hand, couldn't express his surprise or excitement. It's so good to see you. His eyes were red. President Wu coughed awkwardly and said faintly, "Huamin, do you know young Master Su?" Huamin shook his head in confusion. Suyu said with a cheeky smile, "It's okay, Wu, go do your thing. We'll get to know each other soon. This person is shameless." Huamin muttered in a low voice. You guys talk first." President Wu felt that he was a little redundant and took the opportunity to leave. "Director, didn't you call me back because it was urgent?" Huamin looked at the director, unwilling to give up. "Yes, young Master Su wants to see you." "Huh?" Huamian was confused again. Was this the bullshit reason why she had to spend more than 30 yuan on a taxi and didn't even have time to eat properly? Young Master Su, right? What's the matter? Hearing that this person was looking for him, Huamin rolled his eyes impatiently. Suyu wasn't angry at all. He reached out his hand and said pitifully, The nurses in your hospital are too bad at acupuncture. They're about to stab me full of holes. I heard that your skills are the best here. From today onwards, can you give me in 4? I'm off today." Huamin looked at him with disdain again. "I can pay you overtime. Don't think that you can bribe me with money," Huamin said righteously. 3,000 yuan a day. In the end, Suyu added, RMB. Huamin was stunned for a moment. Then he glanced at Suyu and said, "Deal." As expected, there was no one who didn't love money. Huamin felt that there was no need for him to go against money. With Suyu's words, they all felt more motivated to work. Huamin jogged over with the tray and equipment for the infusion. Then, Suyu obediently lay on the hospital bed and waited for Huamin to perform acupuncture. This posture was completely like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. "You know me?" Huamin suddenly asked him. Suyu shook his head. He was determined not to admit it because Huamin didn't know him yet. He didn't want her to think that he was crazy. "Then why did you call me Mian just now?" Huamin was indeed a meticulous Virgo and noticed something was wrong. "Heard it from the other nurses here. But I don't know you well." "I know." Suyu smiled. "So, don't call me Mian from now on, okay?" Suyu continued to smile. "It's the first time I've seen such a strange patient like you. Are you happy to have a fracture?" Huamin glanced at Suyu's face indifferently as if he was looking at an idiot. "Yes, it's my honor to be hospitalized at Southside. It's even more my honor to have Beauty Hua personally perform acupuncture, hee. Suyu's mouth was as sweet as honey. "You're good at flirting. Unfortunately, I don't fall for it. Don't move, be careful of the needle rolling." Huamin picked up the tray and was about to leave. "Mian, I told you not to call me Mian." Huamin turned around and glared at her. However, in Suyu's eyes, her angry face was also very charming. "Huamin, is there anything else?" She looked at him warily. Hello, Huamin, my name is Suyu. Nice to meet you in the future. Suyu looked at Huamin and said word by word. Chapter 45-49. You're crazy. Huamian left after saying that out of the blue. If it weren't for the overtime pay of 3,000 yuan, she wouldn't have given this crazy guy an injection. Although 3,000 yuan wasn't a lot, it was enough for Jixin's living expenses for 2 months. Therefore, sometimes Huamin had no bottom line for money. After Huamin left, Qin Chu lay on the hospital bed and looked at his arm. The needle that Huamin had injected just now made him feel happy. Those who didn't know would think that he was crazy, however, he knew that he wasn't crazy. He had never been more clear-headed than at this moment. This hard-won happiness, even though he knew that he still had no chance of winning after transmigrating back to this time, because Huamin already had Qin Chu. At this rate, Huamin and Qin Chu were already in a secret marriage. However, it was enough for him to see Mian again. Hearing her speak and seeing her bright eyes, Suyu raised his left hand that wasn't injected and touched his neck. The amulet was still there. He looked at his left wrist and saw that the peace rope that Master Wu had given him was still there. These things constantly reminded him that he was from the future. Suddenly, he thought of something and picked up his phone to make a call. Then, in the next second, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan rushed in. Lord Su, how is it? Which leg is it? Will it affect your posture? Young Master Tang's words were indeed dirty, just like his personality. Wei Liao didn't say anything and just smiled at Suyu. Seeing his old friend again, his heart was filled with excitement. However, Suyu had no choice but to pretend to be calm. You too came to see me empty-handed? What else? Do I have to carry a big rooster for you? Tang Chuan teased. Suyu, or black chicken soup? Wei Liao continued. I'm not in confinement. Stop bullshitting me. Suyu was speechless. Stop joking. How did you lose this time? Your driving skills can be called the god of racing. How can you lose to that little brat? No, his car was tampered with. When he lost control at the edge of the cliff, he almost flipped over. You saved him? Tang Chuan was stunned. I guess so. I can't just watch him and his car flip over. Suyu recalled a car accident many years ago. He had strained his ligaments and was hospitalized at South Side. Originally, he was racing with a young racer, but that kid's car broke down halfway. Suyu had saved him in a moment of desperation, but he had gotten stuck and strained his ligaments. Fortunately, it wasn't serious. Speaking of which, this was a very low-key good deed that Suyu had done. Sure, our Lord Su is doing charity now. Don't tell me it's useless. When I recover, do you want to arrange a drinking party? I want a drink. Suyu was eager to try. He couldn't remember how long it had been since he had drunk with these two guys. No problem. When you recover and are discharged, you can drink as much as you want in my wine cellar. Tang Chuan was also generous. At this moment, the door to the ward opened again. Boss? When in walked in, Suyu felt a lump in his throat and was touched. This kid had been with him for many years, and he never left him even in his dreams. After everyone left, he wondered how An was doing. Boss, the thing you asked me to investigate, and was about to say. Suyu interrupted him. Ahem. There's no rush. We'll talk about it later. Go and buy us some drinks. I want orange juice. Suyu sent An away. After Tang Chuan and Wei Liao left, Suyu called An in alone. Boss, I've found out what you asked me to investigate. How is it? Suyu actually wanted to ask how long Qin Chu had been back and how long he had been secretly married to Huamin. Boss, are you mistaken? There's no such person as Qin Chu. At least, there's no such person here. There are many people in the country, but their age and education don't match. Most importantly, the Miss Hui you asked me to investigate did have a boyfriend, but his name is Ning Ziwon. I heard that they broke up and Miss Hui is single now. What did you say? Suyu looked at An in shock. Chapter 45-50. And was shocked by his boss's question. He stammered, Boss, please recall carefully. Did you remember the name wrongly? I really didn't find Qin Chu. Impossible. Hearing Anne's report, Su Yu rejected it without hesitation. How could there be no Qin Chu? He was the man Huamin loved the most in her life, his most powerful opponent. Then, do you want me to investigate again? Go. Su Yu was a little flustered. He waved his hand and asked him to leave first. Then he lay on the bed with mixed feelings. He did not know what he was experiencing. What was this? But he was indeed back. He touched the edge of the bed and looked at everything in the ward. It did not seem like a dream. However, it was hard to say. The dream created by the dream creator was exactly the same as the real thing. Could it be that he had encountered another nightmare? Was there no Qin Chu in the nightmare? Su Yu's mind went wild. He thought of a lot of things that he could think of and couldn't think of. He tried to convince himself. The next morning, Huamin came to give Su Yu an injection in the morning as instructed. She was wearing a loose white coat. When she entered, Su Yu was eating breakfast. Lady Su was feeding her son porridge. You're not done yet? I'll come back later. Huamin saw that Su Yu was eating and turned to leave. I'm full. Come and give me an injection. Su Yu quickly wiped his mouth. Son, didn't you just eat 2 mouthfuls? Lady Su looked at her son in surprise. She could not understand him. Mom, I have no appetite. I won't eat for now. Please go out for a while. I need an injection. So, what if I get an injection? What does it matter if I go out or not? Madame Su was baffled. Su Yu smiled slightly. How is that the same? You're in the room and I'm nervous. What if my hand trembles and the nurse stabs it in the wrong way? Who's going to be responsible then? Lady Su. All right, Mother Empress. Hurry up and leave. Be good, Su Yu coaxed his mother out. Only he and Huamin were left in the ward. Huamin was wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses. His outfit made him look very old-fashioned. After all, the young nurses at Southside were all dressed sexily. Huamin, on the other hand, was well-behaved. Was he doing this on purpose? You haven't eaten anything yet, so your stomach might feel uncomfortable if you get in for drip. Are you sure you don't want to continue eating? Huamin looked at him and asked in the tone of a professional nurse. I can eat. How about you feed me? Su Yu looked at Huamin with a cheeky smile. You're not my son, why would I feed you? Sure enough, even though time had traveled, even in a dream, Huamin was still Huamin. He was sharp-tongued and didn't hesitate to scold others. Su Yu had experienced this many years ago. At that time, he felt very wronged when he was scolded. Now that he was scolded by Huamin again, he felt very happy. After Huamin skillfully inserted the needles into Su Yu, he looked at the 4 drip. Don't move around. Watch yourself. There are 3 bottles today. When you want to change the medicine, ring the bell and call me. Can't you stay and watch the 4 drip for me? I spent a lot of money at your hospital. Su Yu continued to tease him. Do you think you're the only patient I have? I have to go next door. If you want someone to watch you, you might as well pay a nurse. After speaking, Huamin stood up to leave. No, Miss Hua, do you know Qin Chu? Su Yu asked in a panic. In fact, he regretted asking this question. What if the answer wasn't what he wanted? Wouldn't he be making things difficult for himself? Chapter 45-51. Huamin froze when he heard Qin Chu's name. Then he shook his head. I don't know him. Su Yu stared into her eyes the whole time. Eyes were the best at telling lies. Besides, Huamin was a person who never liked to lie. After Huamin finished speaking, he opened the door and left. Su Yu, on the other hand, couldn't suppress the ecstasy in his heart. Without Qin Chu, there really wouldn't be a Qin Chu. Last night, he asked him to check again and again, but he still couldn't find anyone in the city who matched Qin Chu. Most importantly, there was no GK Corporation or the Qin family. What Su Yu didn't know was why such a bug would appear after time was turned back. Without Qin Chu, what kind of ecstasy would Su Yu be? He would no longer have to bear the accusation of being a third party, and he would no longer have to carefully have a crush on Huamin. He would be good friends with her for life. According to the information and brought back, Huamin's relationship history was as follows. When she was in university, She had a boyfriend named Ning Ziyuan. Later, when the two families were planning to buy a house and get married, she found out that Ning Ziyuan had an affair with a female nurse from the first hospital, and then Huamin broke up with him. Then she was transferred to South Side. Everything was exactly the same as before. Except that Qin Chu was missing. Could it be that this was a special gift from God to him? Su Yu was so excited that he wanted to cry. He never thought that he would have the chance to experience such a moment. At this moment, Lady Su came back and went straight into the kitchen. She heated up the porridge and continued to bring it to Su Yu. Son, eat some more. Otherwise, your stomach will feel uncomfortable. Mom, I'll do it myself. Su Yu happily picked up the spoon with his other hand and drank big mouthfuls. Be careful, no one will steal it from you. Don't burn yourself. Mom, you look so beautiful today. This dress is beautiful. Is it the one I gave you for your birthday last time? Yes, you have good taste. Your dad also said that this style suits me. Lady Su was in a good mood. She adjusted the scarf around her neck. This brand is not bad. I'll buy more for you when I go on a business trip to Europe. Oh, what's wrong with you today? You seem to be in a good mood. A mother knew her son best. Lady Su realized that her son, who had always been bad-tempered, was in a good mood today. He was still in the mood to praise her dress, and even promised to buy her a new dress. The sun really rose from the west. Although Su Yu had always been filial and treated her well, her son would never tell her about buying a dress. I like a girl. Su Yu's words stunned Lady Su. Then Lady Su sighed. I know. Isn't she the girl in your company who recently acted in a costume drama? She's pretty, but your grandfather doesn't like people in the entertainment industry. I'm sure you know that. If you like her, date her first. If it's really to the point of marriage, you can ask her to leave the entertainment industry and keep a low profile for a while. Then, bring her back for everyone to see. Elders were always very cautious when it came to relationships. Lady Su didn't like gossip. She was a real rich lady and was very cultured. However, she still paid a lot of attention to her son's matters. She knew very well what kind of shows Su Yu's entertainment company produced every year and who he supported. Lady Su knew that her son had been supporting a girl named Zhao Qingya recently. She thought that Su Yu was talking about her. Who knew? It was someone else. Mom, it's not Zhao Qingya. She's not from my company. My company is just putting on a show. This girl is the one I really like. How do you like her? Tell me, Lady Su said with a smile as she peeled an apple. When I saw her, my heart raced. I felt like all the flowers in the world had bloomed. Su Yu said emotionally. Chapter 45-52. Su Yu's description made Lady Su convulse with laughter. Su Yu was speechless. Mom, is it that funny? For my son to use such mushy words to describe her. This girl isn't simple. Tell me, where did such a magical conch girl come from? How did she charm you? Forget it, I won't tell you for now. I'll tell you when I catch up with her and have news. You mean, you haven't succeeded yet? Su Yu nodded. Yes, I haven't succeeded. Okay, when you succeed, bring her home and have a meal with me. Mom, you'll definitely like her very much. Since Lady Su and Huamin were so close, Su Yu was full of confidence. You're that confident? Yes, she's a very, very good girl. Su Yu used two very words, which piqued Lady Su's curiosity. After Lady Su took care of her son, she went home with the bodyguards and maids. When she bumped into him in the corridor, Lady Su did not forget to ask him, has young master been in contact with any girls recently? No, young master has been in the hospital recently. It's inconvenient for him to move around, so he hasn't gone anywhere. Could it be someone from the hospital? After saying this, Lady Su left the hospital curiously. Su Yu was bored as he stared at his 4-bottle. He felt that he was walking too slowly, so he reached out and sped up the 4-drip. When he saw that the medicine was about to run out, he immediately pressed the bell. Sure enough, in less than 3 minutes, Huamin came over from the on-call desk. You're done so soon? Huamin looked at the 4-bottle. It was indeed almost empty. Hurry up and change the dressing. Suyu said with a smile. Huamin looked up and swapped the new 4-drip with the one he had just brought. Then, he glanced at Suyu. Don't go so fast. It'll irritate your stomach. Got it, Madam Nurse. Hearing how Suyu addressed him, Huamin was slightly startled. Didn't they say that an ancestor was staying in this VIP ward? What did he mean by the man of the hour in the city? His temper was extremely bad. Why couldn't Huamin see a trace of violence on his face? On the contrary, she felt that he was a polite and patient person after interacting with him a few times. What the hell? Huamin was about to leave after changing his dressing. Suyu picked up a big apple with his other hand. Miss Nurse. Huamin turned around. Suyu directly threw the apple over. Fortunately, Huamin reacted in time and caught it. What? She looked at him. Thank you for your help. I'll treat you to an apple. Che. Huamin clicked his tongue and laughed. He picked up the apple and left. As soon as Huamin left and came in, then he heard his boss in a particularly beautiful mood. Why was he in a particularly beautiful mood? Because he was whistling. What kind of song was he whistling? And listened carefully and almost spat out. Because the melody was secretly asking the holy monk if his daughter was beautiful. Was his daughter beautiful? Wasn't this the theme song of Journey to the West? What was wrong with his boss? Why was he whistling all of a sudden? And walked over quietly. Boss. Did you win the 2-colored ball first prize? And asked in a low voice. Suyu was speechless. What nonsense are you thinking about all day? The lottery is a scam. It's specially made to trick a little idiot like you. That's strange. What made you so happy that you actually started whistling? And was puzzled. Chapter 45-53. Suyu rolled his eyes. It's none of your business. And, well, ever since his boss woke up from the car accident and had felt strange. At first, he thought that it was because his head was injured. Later, he heard from Lady Su and the doctor that other than some ligaments being pulled, everything else was fine. And Suyu still insisted that he had traveled through time. Or perhaps it was the most popular rebirth. But there was one thing he didn't understand. Why wasn't Qin Chu at this time? He even investigated Huamin's childhood. Huamin had studied in second high school and junior high, and he had entered as the top scholar in the middle school examination. It was said that he had a full scholarship. Not only did he not have to spend money to go to school, but he also had a lot of school subsidies every year. Logically speaking, with his results, he should have been able to go abroad. But why did he study in a third-rate university? It was because something happened to Huamin's stepfather, and it was related to Qin Chu's family, causing a blood feud between the two families. Now that even Qin Chu was gone, why did Huamin choose to go to a third-rate university? At this moment, Suyu discovered another surprise. Without Qin Chu, Jingda's tragedy didn't happen. So Jingda was still alive and well in this world. It was just that their lives were a little hard, so they went abroad to work. It was said that they were doing labor service in Africa. They had a 2-year contract, but they hadn't returned yet. Suyu felt that the people and things around him were the same as before, including Wei Liao and Tang Chuan, including Huamin's good friend, Zhu Lingling, and was still by his side, and Zhao Qingya, Jian Tong, and Ye Lingxian were still in the company. Then why was Qin Chu's line broken? What went wrong? The more he thought about it, the more his head hurt. Suyu simply took the opportunity to take an afternoon nap. Before taking a nap, she did not forget to instruct him, help me keep an eye on the 4-drip. If the medicine runs out, immediately find the little nurse named Huamin to change it. Xiaoan nodded and then felt puzzled. His boss didn't even remember the names of the artists in his company. How could he remember the name of a nurse from South Side so clearly? Could it be that the boss had feelings for her? Suyu fell asleep in a daze. In a trance, he felt someone touch him. He was so frightened that he quickly got up from the ground. Only then did he realize that he had unknowingly found himself on a vast grassland. In the distance, there were blue skies and white clouds. The scene was quite beautiful. And the person who touched him surprised him even more. Master? Suyu was so excited that he almost shed tears. Not only had he not dreamed for a long time, But he also did not expect to see Master Wu. "Brett, how is it? What do you mean? How are you doing now?" "It's especially good. I realized that I've transmigrated. I've returned to the past. Not only am I younger, I've also seen a lot of my family and friends. They're all by my side." Su Yu wanted nothing more than to tell Master Wu everything in one go. Hearing Su Yu say that he had transmigrated, Master Wu smiled slightly. "I'm also dreaming now, aren't I?" Su Yu touched the amulet around his neck and asked. "Not bad. Now you know that you're dreaming." Master Wu smiled. "Then was my transmigration also a dream? Shouldn't I be in a nightmare?" Su Yu quickly asked his biggest question. Master Wu looked at Su Yu for a while before speaking. "Stupid little donkey, you've already escaped from the nightmare." Su Yu was overjoyed. He was so excited that he didn't know what to say. He had indeed escaped. "Master, where are you?" "I'll go find you. I have a lot of questions to ask you." Su Yu thought that since he had been reborn and transmigrated, he should go find Master Wu as soon as possible. Chapter 45-54. "Kid, stop looking for me. You won't be able to find me." But Master Wu didn't answer. Instead, he glanced at the amulet on Su Yu's neck and the red string on his wrist. "Well done. Remember to bring these two things with you at all times." With that, Master Wu's figure started to fade. "Master, I still have a lot of questions." Su Yu was extremely anxious, but Master Wu's figure was gradually blurring. At the last moment, he only heard Master Wu say two words: "Parallel world." Master, don't go." Su Yu woke up abruptly amidst the screaming. "Boss, did you have a nightmare?" And quickly poured a glass of warm water and handed it to him. Su Yu looked up at the ceiling. It was still the ward at South Side. It seemed like it was just a dream. He panted and drank the warm water in big gulps. "And where's my phone?" "Madam said that you haven't been resting much recently, so she doesn't want you to play with your phone." "Cut the crap, give it to me." And didn't dare to say anything. He took out Su Yu's phone from his pocket and carefully handed it over. Su Yu turned on his phone with one hand and opened B. After hesitating for a moment, he typed in another word: "Parallel world." Then all the information was displayed. The multiverse was a theoretical collection of infinite or finite possible universes. The treasury contained everything that could exist, including all space, time, matter, energy, and the laws and constants of physics that describe them. When Su Yu was in school, he wasn't very good at science. He had even connected light bulbs to a series of explosions in physics class. Therefore, to him, what he found was like a duck listening to thunder. He couldn't understand it at all. Then, Su Yu continued reading. Below was the principle of parallel worlds explained in plain language. He probably wouldn't be able to understand those quanta and molecules for the rest of his life. However, there was one sentence that he understood. Some scholars used this analogy when describing parallel universes. They might be in the same space system but have different time systems. It was like two trains running on the same track. There was another kind of parallel universe where the time system was the same but the space system was different. It was like a car running on the upper and lower floors of an overpass. When Su Yu saw this, he more or less understood. However, he was still a little confused. He continued reading and saw that it was written at the bottom. When two parallel worlds met, some people would suddenly appear, some people would leave forever, and some people would find true love. The cracks in space-time, the parallel worlds, and the terrifying time, because there was no future, no one could predict the future. Seeing this, Su Yu was once again confused. He put down his phone and closed his eyes. His mind was racing. He thought about everything related to the parallel world. Why did his master tell him about the parallel world in his dream? Could it be that he hadn't transmigrated? Or had he transmigrated to a parallel world? There was no chin-chu here. The closer he got to the truth, the faster his heart raced. He wasn't a straight-A student and there were many things that he couldn't understand. At this moment, Huamin came in to change the last bottle of medicine for him. He opened his eyes and looked at Huamin for a while before saying, "Huamin, I have an academic question to ask you. I heard that you used to be a straight A student. Huamin's hand that was changing the medicine paused for a moment. Then, he glanced at Suyu. You know quite a lot. Chapter 45-55. After changing the 4-drip, Suyu gave in a look and tactfully left the ward. Take a seat. Suyu smiled at Huamin. No need. Tell me what you want. I'll go to the cafeteria to get food later. Huamin still looked arrogant as he crossed his arms. She was clearly a nurse, but she acted like an attending doctor. Her aura was really unparalleled. Have you heard of parallel worlds? After Suyu finished speaking, Huamin laughed out loud. What are you laughing at? Is there any other way for you to pick up girls? Is it fun to talk to me about such a profound topic? That's really not it. Although I do want to hit on you, I'm sincerely asking this question. Please enlighten me. Suyu didn't notice that Huamin's face was slightly red when he said this. Suyu was probably the only person in the world who would dare to say that he did want to hit on her. Ahem. Huamin coughed lightly. Miss Nurse, please enlighten me. Looking at Suyu's pitiful expression, Huamin believed that he was just curious and didn't mean to start a conversation with her. There was no doubt that Huamian was a straight A student. Therefore, when she explained the parallel universe, the theory behind it was similar to Baidu. Suyu still didn't understand. What I mean is, you'd better explain it to me in a simple way. Otherwise, I might not be able to understand. After all, I'm a bad student. Huamin was speechless. Huamin was helpless. He pushed up his black glasses and asked Suyu, let's put it this way. Have you ever had this feeling before? It's like going to a strange place. You've never been to that place before, but you feel that it's familiar. Suyu nodded desperately. He had indeed had this feeling before. As for what kind of state of mind he had been in at that time, he couldn't really describe it. In short, it was very subtle. Also, when something happens, you also feel that it happened before, but you can't remember it. Yes. I've had this feeling before. Suyu nodded his head vigorously. He felt that Huamin had hit the nail on the head. Then, Huamin continued, another kind is when you're looking for something. You clearly remember where you put it, but you can't find it anywhere. Then, a few days later, you inexplicably find it there. I really do. I remember that my phone was on the sink once. I couldn't find it no matter how hard I tried. I thought I lost it, so I bought a new one. When I woke up the next morning to wash up, I found my phone on the sink. I couldn't find it no matter how hard I tried. It's amazing. Suyu was extremely excited because he had experienced all the phenomena that Huamin mentioned. Huamin nodded. Yes, although this situation hasn't been scientifically proven, many scientists have proposed the theory of space-time overlapping and peaceful worlds overlapping. Suyu was confused. In other words, the you in the parallel world has been to that place. So when time overlaps, you will have an impression. However, you didn't go there in this world because the you in the parallel world has been there. So you have an impression. It's the same when you lose something. Because at that moment, the parallel world overlaps and your things are taken away by the you in the parallel world. After the overlapping time passes, your things will naturally return. Of course, this theory is a little ridiculous. Just take it as a joke. Huamin, then do you believe in parallel worlds? If I say that I'm Suyu from the parallel world, would you believe me? Suyu looked at Huamin and stared at her. Perhaps she was the only person he trusted in this world. Chapter 45-56. Huamin looked at Suyu for a while before replying calmly, then if I tell you that I'm a beautiful girl from Pandora, Huamin, would you believe me? Suyu was speechless. You can't stop taking your medicine. After saying those words, Huamin turned around and left. Suyu almost laughed out loud. This wretched girl is still the same as back then. Even her lines are so similar. You can't stop taking your medicine. What a mocking sentence. However, how could Suyu be angry? He didn't even have time to coax that ancestor. Although Su Yu found the parallel world unbelievable, if he thought about it carefully, perhaps this was the only way to explain it. If it was just a simple transmigration, it was impossible for Qin Chu to not exist. Could it be that there really is a parallel world in this world? Su Yu searched for information about parallel worlds online for a long time. He only put down his phone when his eyes were tired. At that moment, he suddenly had an idea. He took out his phone, opened WeChat, and posted on his WeChat. Su Yu was a lazy person. Moreover, men were not as emotional as women. They would post whatever they thought. Therefore, Su Yu's WeChat was relatively clean. He opened it and took a look. The last time he posted on his WeChat, it was 3 months ago, at a public event at Imperial Star. He posted a link. Su Yu opened his WeChat and slowly wrote, "In a parallel world, there might be another you. He is doing things that you don't dare to do and living the life that you have always wanted." In less than a minute, he had already received countless likes. Su Yu didn't even know who some of the likes were. Tang Chuan, "Lord Su, you've become pretentious, but I still love you so much." Su Yu replied to Tang Chuan, "Get lost, you pervert." Wei Liao, "A car accident created a philosopher." Su Yu replied to Wei Liao, "Keep mocking me. Just you wait." Zhao Qingya, "What's wrong, Mr. Su? In a bad mood?" Jian Tong, "No matter how many parallel worlds there are, no matter how many of you there are, you will always be the king." Lady Su, "Son, tell me what you want to eat tonight." Su Yu glanced at them and was too lazy to reply to them. As he lay in bed, he once again thought of a serious problem. If this was a parallel world, there should be another Su Yu. Then, where did this world Su Yu go? After all, he was an outsider. Could it be that the Su Yu here had died in the car accident? And he had switched souls, and stayed here? The more he thought about it, the more his brain burned. Thus, he decided not to think about it any. Su Yu covered his head and prepared to rest. At this moment, they heard a commotion at the door. "Miss Zhao, the boss is already resting." "Don't lie to me. The boss just posted it on his WeChat moments." "You stinky bodyguard, don't be so ungrateful, okay? I'm the boss's sweetheart." Obviously, Zhao Qingya, that brainless girl, had an argument with him at the door. Then she barged in without a care. "And let her in," Su Yu shouted. And pursed his lips. Zhao Qingya became even more arrogant. "Did you see that? President Su already said to let me in. Just wait for your bonus to be deducted, country bumpkin." Zhao Qingya was currently very popular. Other than Su Yu, she didn't care about anyone else. Even her best friends said that she was the woman most likely to marry into the Su family. Therefore, she was momentarily overjoyed. He didn't know if Zhao Qingya did it on purpose or not. She came in the middle of the night wearing only a silk dress. It was nude pink. Her long hair fell over her shoulders, and she wore Korean-style eye makeup. She even sprayed a classic Burberry perfume. She was still carrying a Hermes bag, but the style had changed. "President Su." The moment she spoke, her voice gave people goosebumps. Chapter 45-57. Su Yu, on the other hand, looked calm. He leaned against the bed, still playing with his phone. "President Su, I miss you. I can't sleep." "Didn't I tell you not to come?" Su Yu said calmly. His eyes were still on his phone, as if he was playing a game of Candy Crush. "But I really miss you. You've been living here for so long. I haven't seen you in a long time." There were only the two of them here, so Su Yu knew what Zhao Qingya wanted to say. "Stop." Su Yu looked up. "President Su." Zhao Qingya pouted and began to act coquettishly. "Zhao Qingya, let me ask you. Do you want to continue being a celebrity?" "Of course. I do." Zhao Qingya was stunned by Su Yu's sudden question. Su Yu really wanted to find someone to tie this woman up and feed her to the sharks. After all, Zhao Qingya had done so many evil things. Whether it was in a dream or in reality, Su Yu didn't have a good impression of this woman at all. However, Su Yu controlled himself and told himself that this was a parallel world. Zhao Qingya didn't know Huamin yet, so she hadn't done anything to hurt Huamin. If you want to stay at Imperial Star and continue being popular, and continue to make money, from now on, stay away from me. Most importantly, don't be a bitch. President Su. Zhao Qingya was stunned. What was wrong with Suyu? He wasn't like this before. Don't ask why. I'm not in the mood to explain so much to you. Anyway, from now on, you're an artist under my company. Other than that, we have nothing to do with each other. You're not allowed to use me to create hype or else I'll cut you off. When Suyu said cut her off, he meant freezing her. For celebrities, the scariest thing was to be frozen and banned. Hearing Suyu's words, Zhao Qingya was surprised, angry, and wronged. However, on the surface, she didn't dare to disobey Suyu. I understand, President Su. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's. It was obvious that she felt wronged. She thought that she could keep Suyu interested in her for a while with her ability, but he got sick of her after just a few days. Could it be that the rumors were true? Did President Su's interest in that bitch, Jian Tong? Zhao Qingya's words, Suyu's words. I'm warning you, don't do anything that's out of line. Whether it's with the other artists in the company or something else, your path to stardom is pretty good right now. If you cause a scandal, I won't let you off. Yes, President Su. I'll remember it. Okay, you can leave. Don't come here again. You can talk to the vice president about work matters. There's no need to meet alone in the future. Su used the president, the other hand Zhao Qingya, the other hand, the other, the Su were the other, S were they hua, Su see the Su people as Su's the other of, he had finally dealt with a troublemaker. He looked at his watch and saw that it was already 11:30 p.m. Suyu wasn't sleepy at all. He searched for Huamin's WeChat. He tried to add Huamin with his previous number, but it wasn't his. Only then did he realize that Huamin's WeChat wasn't his phone number. Suyu tried to add Huamin with his WeChat, and it was still the same number. Huamin's profile picture was the same as before. It was a picture of him on campus. Suyu added Huamin, and the note read, I'm your husband. Add me. 3 minutes later, Suyu received a rejection notification from Huamin. Chapter 45-58. Other than rejecting him, Huamin also added, I'm your mother. Husband? Mother? That's a good match. Suyu couldn't help but chuckle. He thought about how Suyu was like this in the past. Because they met at Southside, he was deeply in love. In the beginning, he had investigated Huamian's background. Later, he had challenged Qin Chu. Now that he thought about it, it was extremely childish back then. Because from the beginning, Suyu had already lost the moment he challenged Qin Chu. He could work hard to be more powerful than Qin Chu, richer than Qin Chu, have more material things than Qin Chu, and love Huamin more than Qin Chu. However, he neglected the most important thing at the time. And that was that love was mutual. In this world, there had never been a pair of true lovers who were both in love. Suyu was passionately in love back then, so no matter what he did, it was all wishful thinking. To Huamin, no matter how rich Suyu was, no matter how much power he had, and no matter how much he loved her, it was all useless because she didn't love him. To Huamin, even if Qin Chu wasn't the president of GK, wasn't the only son of the Qin family, and didn't have a 360-degree face that could topple the world, Huamin would still love him. Because he was Qin Chu, the only man Huamin had ever loved in her life. Suyu once thought that if he were to transmigrate, he would have to transmigrate back to when he was young, preferably when he was in kindergarten. Only then would he be able to know Huamin longer than Qin Chu. Therefore, when Suyu thought that he had transmigrated back to the past, he was quite upset. Because as long as Qin Chu was around, he would always be the one who lost miserably, even during those 4 years when Qin Chu was recuperating in the United States and disappearing. Suyu took care of Huamin and her mother meticulously for nearly 4 years. However, it couldn't compare to Qin Chu's, I'm back. Therefore, after experiencing all this, Suyu already knew his limits. However, he never thought that he could transmigrate to a parallel world. A parallel world where there was no Qin Chu, only Huamin. Suyu's heart was filled with excitement and ecstasy. He even felt that he had sacrificed so much in exchange for this incomparably precious opportunity. If it's not a dream, if it's real, then he would die. Here his friends, his family, just like before. The only one missing was Huamian's beloved Qin Chu. Suyu slowly pulled her thoughts back to reality. He added, Huamin, add me. I don't have a grandson as old as you. Thank you. Huamin rejected him again. Suyu knew that with Huamin's personality, she wouldn't add someone she wasn't familiar with just a few words. At least for the current Huamin, she still didn't know Suyu. Therefore, Suyu didn't want to be impatient and scare her or pressure her, because he had a lot of time. He had a lifetime to chase after her and make her fall in love with him. In the other world, Suyu wanted to ask Huamin more than once. If there was no Qin Chu, if I appeared first, would you fall in love with me? However, Huamin didn't answer because the hypothetical question itself didn't hold water. Now, in this parallel world, everything had really happened. Suyu had to use his entire life to prove. Without Qin Chu, would Huamin still fall in love with him? Early morning. As Suyu was in a good mood, he woke up early. Then, his mother brought the maid to deliver a sumptuous breakfast. Mom. You don't have to come over tomorrow. Don't bring me food anymore. But Lady Su was slightly startled. I want to eat in the hospital. Isn't the food in the hospital bad? Lady Su remembered that her son had complained before that the food in the hospital was like pig's food. It's not good. That's right. Isn't that a good way to lose weight? Suyu smiled. Lady Su couldn't help but laugh. Child, why do you need to lose weight? Health is the most important thing. At this moment, Huamin came in with a tray. Suyu, it's time for the infusion. Chapter 45-59. I'll be right there. Suyu immediately put down the meat bun in his mouth and took the initiative to extend an arm for Huamin to inject. Lady Su was so surprised that her jaw almost dropped. I'm having an injection. It's not good to have too many people in the room. It's too messy. Go out and wait for me. Suyu blinked and sent his mother and an away. Before she left, Lady Su did not forget to take another look at the nurse. She felt that she was really average-looking. At the door of the ward. Yes, madam? Has young master been acting strangely these 2 days? Yes, a little. Tell me about it. Lady Su held a white dye fey bag and sat demurely on a bench in the hospital corridor. And scratched his head. How should I put it? Anyway, young master has been suspicious recently. Something is indeed wrong. Maybe it's because he's bored lying in the hospital. Do you know the girl who gave young master the injection? Smiswa. She's been giving young master injections recently. She's just a caretaker? And nodded. I guess so. She was handpicked by young master. Handpicked? When did this happen? After young master woke up, did young master say anything about how he treats Miss Hua differently? After all, Lady Su was Suyu's mother, so she knew her son well. Although her son was used to fooling around, she could still tell who he was interested in. After all, Suyu was an impatient person and could not hide things in his heart. It's different. Maybe he interacts more with her. Sometimes, when Miss Hua comes to inject young master will deliberately tease her. What's Miss Hua's background? Lady Su continued to ask, and hesitated for a moment. He didn't know if he should tell her. Tell me what you know. Don't hide anything from me. Yes, madam. Miss Hua's background is very simple. She has a younger brother, and they live in the slums of the east side. Their living conditions are not very good, but I heard that Miss Hua is a straight A student. She didn't pay any tuition fees since junior high, and she received scholarships every year. She graduated from the local medical university. However, because she doesn't have any connections and didn't get in through the back door, she's still a nurse. What an amazing woman. Alright, I got it. You still have to take care of the young master's matters. Don't worry, madam. I will protect young master well. Xiaoan was an honest man. He had followed Suyu for a long time, and Lady Su liked him very much. Inside the ward, Miss Nurse. You're so educated. Why are you only a nurse? I think you're qualified to be a doctor. While Su Yu flattered him, Huamin lowered his head and carefully organized the equipment. I don't have any connections or money. It's good enough to be a nurse. Isn't it good to have insurance until retirement? But I think if you become a doctor, you'll benefit the country and the people. Su Yu continued flattering him. Huamin raised his head and looked at Su Yu. You sure know how to talk. To be honest, if you want to be a doctor, I can help. No need. Before Su Yu could finish his sentence, Huamin directly rejected him. That's not the salary of a doctor. Your income will be many times higher. I heard that you majored in obstetrics and gynecology in university. Don't you want to be an outstanding obstetrician? Upon hearing Su Yu's words, Huamin's eyes flashed. He was obviously tempted, but, according to what you said, what I need is money. It's so complicated for me to work so hard to be a doctor. I might as well find a rich man and marry him. It'll be more practical, Huamin teased. Okay. Then marry me. I'll definitely be a rich man. Su Yu took advantage of the situation. Chapter 45-60. I can tell, but it's not old-fashioned enough. Move aside. After being scolded again, Su Yu wasn't discouraged because he was already mentally prepared. Hey, Huamin. What? Has anyone told you that your eyelashes are beautiful? Su Yu looked at Huamin's face with a serious expression. After hearing this, Huamin reached out to touch his forehead. Stop fooling around. My eyelashes are so short that I can't even see them in the mirror. It's because they're so short that they're special? I'm tired of looking at the thick eyelashes of those flirtatious bitches outside. I like short ones. Huamin, Su Yu had a feeling that the conversation was going to die as they talked. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He carried the tray and walked out. Miss Nurse, please wait. What are you doing now? Huamin was so angry that he was almost speechless. The person staying in this VIP ward was simply a weirdo. My mom won't send me food starting this afternoon. Can you help me order some food from the hospital's cafeteria? I just want you to pack one for me after you finish your lunch. Is that okay? The food in the cafeteria is delicious. It's okay. I like bad food. Huamin, the food in the cafeteria isn't cheap. I can't use my meal card. Huamin got straight to the point. I asked my assistant to add 100,000 yuan to your meal card. Is that enough? Huamin. Of course, this foul language was said very softly. What's wrong? Not enough? Su Yu asked deliberately. Brother, this money is enough to eat until the day our hospital goes bankrupt. If you have 100,000 yuan, why do you still eat in the hospital's cafeteria? The best private restaurant in the city, Li Ji, delivers food every day. It doesn't cost 100,000 yuan. Huamian felt that there was something wrong with the young master of the Su family. Something was seriously wrong with him. But I don't like to eat Li Ji's private home cuisine. All right, up to you. Huamin didn't want to continue talking to this crazy tycoon. He would go crazy. Huamin came from an ordinary family. It wasn't easy for Uncle Jing to earn money. 2 years ago, her mother fell ill and was hospitalized for a major operation. The family was already in debt. Uncle Jing had no choice but to go to Africa for labor and hadn't returned for 2 years. However, this crown prince could easily top up 100,000 yuan in the hospital's meal card. What kind of existence was this? After Huamin left, Su Yu was in a good mood. At noon Huamin came to deliver food. She was quite honest. Seeing that Prince had a lot of money, she ordered 8 dishes and 1 soup. The whole ward was filled with pig trotters. When Su Yu saw these dishes, he was also dumbfounded. Soy sauce pig trotters, steamed pork shoulder, red braised pork, black fish stewed with tofu, iron pot veal, fried chicken thigh, green pepper fried meat, lion head. Doesn't the patient need to eat something light? It's so greasy. Is it okay? Su Yu didn't expect Huamin to be so honest. The 8 dishes were all meat. He was full just by looking at them, let alone eating. You injured your leg, not your spleen and stomach? It's okay. I'll try to help you spend the 100,000 yuan as soon as possible. Su Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Come and eat with me. No, why? I think you're dirty, Su Yu. Look at you. You haven't washed your face or shaved for days. You're so ugly and unhygienic, Su Yu. Let's go. It's slowly. Tell me if it's not enough. I'll get more. No, it's enough, my dear. After Huamin left, Su Yu called in, who was at the door. Boss, what can I do for you? Take these and go out with the bodyguards at the door. Eat them all. What about you? Untouched his head. Chapter 4561. I just took a look at these dishes and I'm full, Su Yu said. Haha. Boss, you're so funny. Don't laugh. Get out. Su Yu sent in away with all the greasy dishes. Only then did his stomach feel better. His leg was fine. In fact, the doctor had already said that he could be discharged. It was Su Yu who refused to leave. He was flirting with the girl he loved every day. He was speechless. In the evening, an uninvited guest came to the hospital. He was an uninvited guest because Su Yu's heart turned cold the moment he saw him. Wuxia still liked to wear pink. Logically speaking, such a feminine color shouldn't look good on a man. However, this man was able to hold himself back. Wuxia had short brown hair and was wearing white casual pants and a light pink suit. He was also holding a fruit basket in his hand. It was a strange sight. He had a smile on his face as he walked down the corridor. The nurses couldn't help but scream when they saw him. Huamin was playing with his phone at the on-call desk. His head was lowered and he didn't see him. It was Wuxia who took an apple from the fruit basket. He placed it beside Huamin's hand. Sister Mian, I'll treat you to an apple. Huamin looked up and saw that it was Wuxia. His face darkened. Take it away. I don't want it. Eat it. Eating more fruit is good for your skin. With that, Wuxia left before Huamin could say anything. He carried the fruit into Su Yu's room. When Su Yu saw him, his expression was extremely complicated. This was because Su Yu wasn't the original Su Yu in the parallel world. He was the Su Yu who had transmigrated from another world. Therefore, he carried all the memories of the other world. As for Wuxia, he was once the common enemy of Su Yu and Qin Chu. This big pervert had once abducted Huamin to live on a deserted island for many days. During that time, Su Yu and Qin Chu almost went crazy. Su Yu was only pleasantly surprised that Qin Chu was not in this world, but he had neglected the existence of Wuxia, a big trouble. One had to know that his obsession and love for Huamin was no less than Su Yu and Qin Chu. It was just that his method was too perverted. What are you doing here? Seeing Wuxia, Su Yu felt very unhappy. What are you talking about? As a partner of Imperial Star, I'm here to see President Su. No need. Brother Su, you're being very cold to me. What's going on? Is it because a small artist under your company has jumped ship to the whole corporation? After being ignored by Su Yu, Wuxia was confused. After all, they had been drinking together a while ago. He didn't have a good relationship with Su Yu, but they weren't enemies either. Only then did Su Yu adjust his emotions. He couldn't make it too obvious in case he exposed himself. Look at you, a big man wearing colorful clothes like a peacock. Aren't you embarrassed? Su Yu lectured him. Wuxia lowered his head and glanced at his suit. I've been wearing this since I was 18. There's nothing wrong with it, buddy. You came to see a patient with this crappy fruit basket? Aren't you embarrassed? You're the vice president of the whole corporation. Then what do you want? Wuxia laughed. Aren't you going to send me a red packet? Su Yu waved his phone. Is this considered extortion? Wuxia laughed. No, I'm clearly asking you for it. Okay, then I'll send you 888 yuan to shut you up. Wuxia helplessly took out his phone. Transfer 2 more 8s or I'll look down on you, Wuxia. Sure enough, Su Yu had more face. In the end, Wuxia transferred 5 8s. Then he didn't forget to say, hurry up and take a screenshot and post it on your WeChat moments. Let everyone see how good I am to you. Su Yu ignored him and replied, Wuxia, I don't have a problem with business cooperation, and I don't have a problem with you calling me brother, but, let me tell you, don't touch Huamin or I'll kill you. Chapter 4562. Huasiqian looked at Su Yu and smiled. Huamin, you've fallen for her. Stop fooling around. I'm not fooling around. I'm telling the truth. You better listen to me clearly. Su Yu finally came to a parallel world without Qin Chu, and he didn't want to lose to Huasiqian. Then, Huasiqian burst out laughing. What are you laughing at? Su Yu was quite displeased. Huasiqian lowered his head, and his laughter was incomparably pleasant. Su Yu, are you crazy? I, Huasiqian, can have any woman I want. I wouldn't be so desperate as to commit incest with my sister, right? She's not your biological sister, Su Yu replied. Isn't having the same father a biological sister? Did you hit your head? Huasiqian was speechless. Weren't you adopted? When did you get married? Su Yu was in a hurry and told him that Huasiqian was adopted, but after that he blamed himself. Even a cripple couldn't tell the truth. This was unintentionally a shortcoming for Huasiqian. To his surprise, Huasiqian wasn't angry. Instead, he laughed out loud. Lord Su, I think this car accident really hurt you. Even if you're the president of an entertainment company, you can't casually spread rumors. Huamin's mother is my father's ex-girlfriend, and they broke up and gave birth to her. There's nothing wrong with that. My grandfather married my mother to Huamin in order to unite with the Hua Corporation and give birth to me. There's nothing wrong with that either. Huamin and I have the same last name and the same father. So, don't worry, even if all the women in the world died, I wouldn't have any improper thoughts about my sister. After Huasiqian said this, Su Yu was stunned. Then, what about Xinjiani? Where's Huayanyan and Huasi? Su Yu asked. Who? Huasiqian didn't seem to have heard him clearly. Xinjiani, Huayanyan, and Huasi, Su Yu repeated. I've never heard of these people before. Su Yu, are you dreaming? Su Yu, fine, I won't talk to you anymore. I came to see you out of the kindness of my heart. Not only did you blackmail me, you even slandered me. You're not suitable to be a boss. You're more suited to be a paparazzi, huh? Oh right, I've taken a liking to one of the female artists your company signed. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it. Huasiqian waved his hand and stood up to leave. Before he left, he even made a teasing remark. Su Yu didn't know what was going on. Su Yu quickly called an in. Boss, what's the matter? Whose son is Huasiqian? Su Yu asked out of the blue. The old chairman of the Hua Corporation. Hua Zhenghai. Isn't he adopted? Su Yu raised his head and looked at him with a sharp gaze. Boss, where did you hear this from? Young Master Hua is the son of the Hua family. There are also rumors that Miss Hua is also Hua Zhenghai's daughter, but it hasn't been confirmed. All these years, Miss Hua and her mother haven't had any contact with the Hua family. Other than that, does Hua Zhenghai have any other children or wives? No, I don't know if he's a mistress, but young Master Hua is his only son. Su Yu had a lot on his mind. Boss, did you hear some gossip from someone? Is it accurate? The Hua family is a prestigious family, we can't talk nonsense. Be careful not to get sued. And reminded Su Yu in a low voice. Su Yu's mind was in a mess. He sorted out the sources of the information. In other words, in this world Huamin and Huasiqian were half-siblings, and Huayanyan and Huasi didn't exist at all. This is really good news, and, you look very handsome today. And... Chapter 4563. And coughed awkwardly and said, Boss, although you've been good to me for the past few years, I still have something to say to you. Go ahead. Holding his cell phone, Su Yu lowered his head and played with it while listening to an I don't like men and said. Then just now, damn? Are you thinking too much? I said you were handsome today, so it means I have feelings for you. Why don't you look at yourself? Su Yu almost jumped up and blew In's head off. What was this guy thinking? How could he think that he was interested in him? Haha, I misunderstood. It's good that you're not. Hearing that he had misunderstood, and immediately grinned, revealing his 8 teeth. You're so stupid. Everyone says Lu Yen doesn't like you. Huh? Lu Yen? Who's Lu Yen? Su Yu suddenly realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He wasn't sure if Lu Yen existed in this world. From the looks of it, Mian might really be Hua Jinghai's biological daughter. In other words, there was no conspiracy in Dong Tao Town. Without Professor Lu, there would be no Lu Yen and Xiao Fei. Without Qin Chu, there would be no Rick and Qin Ning. Then what about Tang Chuan's wife? Although he had discovered the benefits of this world, he gradually realized that he had lost many people. What made Su Yu feel the most conflicted was, without Qin Chu, Hua Min wouldn't have married Qin Chu. This was a good thing. However, without Qin Chu, there would be no twins in the future. Su Yu's heart ached at the thought of the two innocent and cute children. The appearance of Little Bean and Pudding had made his life much happier. In the beginning, when the little ones were born, he did his best to treat the children well because of his love for them. He wanted Hua Min to be touched and the children to like him. But later on, after taking care of her for so long, she really treated her as her own. Su Yu could guarantee that his love for the twins was no less than Qin Chu's. However, there would no longer be twins in this world. Boss, your mood has been changing a lot recently. One moment you're happy, the next you're sad. What's wrong? Just treat it as if I'm on my period. So you said, and was speechless. I've only heard of women having menstruation, but I've never heard of men having menstruation. Cut the crap. Get out, I'm going to sleep. The next morning Su Yu's leg had almost recovered. When the attending doctor came to visit in the morning, he specifically told Su Yu that he could get out of bed and walk slowly to exercise. He did not see Hua Min today because he did not need an 4-drip. Su Yu's heart was restless. He was not in the mood to eat. With Anne's help, she walked slowly in the corridor and then went to the back garden of the hospital. However, she saw Hua Min talking and laughing with an unfamiliar man. Su Yu desperately searched through his memories. He realized that the kid was actually a soldier introduced to Hua Min by the old man in the ward next door. Instantly, he was filled with anger and, "Go back and bring me my phone." Su Yu took the opportunity to send it away. "Okay boss, thank you here. Don't wander around." After An left, Su Yu limped over. When he walked nearby, he heard the kid talking to Hua Min. "I heard that you broke up with your ex-boyfriend a long time ago. Have you considered starting a new relationship? I'm in the army, so I can apply for my wife to follow the army and live in the family building. However, your job might have to change. We also have a military hospital there. I can find some connections and arrange for you to go in. What do you think?" Before Hua Min could reply, Su Yu rushed up. Chapter 45-64. You keep talking about connections. As a former soldier, I feel embarrassed for you. Does your family own the army? You can transfer anyone you want. The blind date looked at Su Yu in confusion. May I ask, who are you? My surname is Su. My name is Yu. Su Yu was a little anxious and angry, so he introduced himself like a gangster. You're Su Yu? The man must have heard of this name before, so he wasn't surprised. After all, the Su family was second only to one person in the military. Su Yu, are you crazy? What are you doing here? Hua Min was very embarrassed. He glanced at the patient he didn't know well. You're the one who's crazy. You have a boyfriend. Don't you think it's shameful for you to go on a blind date? When did I? Hua Min was about to say something. Su Yu interrupted him again. You're just arguing with me. Isn't it normal for couples to argue? You can't go on a blind date just to piss me off. Forget about the blind date. Can't you find someone better? You even like a company commander. Is there something wrong with your eyes? Do you need me to get you a pair of glasses? Su Yu, you bastard. Hua Min was about to go crazy. That guy understood what was going on when he heard this. Then, he turned to look at Hua Min. Miss Hua, so you have a boyfriend? Then you shouldn't have gone on a blind date with me. You shouldn't have lied to my third grandpa. He told me that you're single. I'm single. Hua Min wanted to explain, but Su Yu interrupted him again. Mian, stop fooling around, okay? I'll go home and kneel on a durian. Don't make me angry. You know how much I love you. We can't lose face in front of outsiders. If you have something to say, let's go home and talk behind closed doors. Motherfucker. Who's talking behind closed doors? Su Yu, You must be out of your mind. Huamin, a genius with a sharp tongue, was disrupted by Su Yu at this moment. He wanted to explain, but he couldn't. Obviously, his blind date was a little angry. Since that's the case, I won't disturb the two of you any further. Take your time. The blind date knew her place and left. Hey, listen to me, it's not like that. Huamin still wanted to say something and wanted to chase after her, but Su Yu grabbed his arm. Mian, don't leave. Sleep your ass. Huamin turned around and shoved her hard, probably because he was angry. Su Yu immediately fell to the ground. His legs were already inconvenient to begin with. Now, the fall was even more unsightly. The moment he landed, Su Yu deliberately shouted, "Ouch, it hurts. It's over. My legs are really going to break." Huamin was about to leave when he saw Su Yu screaming. He couldn't bear it. Are you okay? Are you dead? If you don't help me up, I'll die. Huamin was furious, but he couldn't bear to leave Su Yu here. Therefore, he went forward and used his weak body to help him up. This was the first time Su Yu was so close to Huamin since he transmigrated to the parallel world. When their bodies touched, he could even smell the unique fragrance on her body. Su Yu suppressed the passionate love he had for Huamin deep in his heart. He looked abstinent, afraid that he would be too impatient and scare her. Why do you look like you have a deep grudge? If you don't want me to help you, you can walk on your own. Huamin raised his head and looked at Su Yu, who was so close to him. No, I'm willing. Sorry to trouble you, chief nurse. Su Yu smiled fawningly. Chapter 45-65. I'm repaying evil with good. You ruined my blind date just now. I shouldn't have cared about you and left you to fend for yourself. Huamin said angrily. You should thank me. That guy doesn't look like a good person. If you get together with him and he abuses you, you'll be pitiful. How do you know he's abusing you? Do you know him? I know how to read people's faces. Really, he's not the right person for you, Su Yu said in all seriousness. Huamin was so angry that she laughed. Su Yu, don't try to play tricks on me. Reading people's faces. If you really know how to read people's faces, why didn't you help yourself? Why did you get yourself into a car accident? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old who's listening to you? Plus, if he's not the right person for me, who is? All the girls at Southside want to find a good boyfriend. Why can't I? Then you can find someone better than him. It's so hard for you to be with a little company commander. I know my place. A company commander is good, and I'm not some socialite's daughter. That's enough for me. If you don't hold your head high, how are you going to make your ex regret? I heard that Ning Ziyuan is going to marry a nurse. That nurse is the mistress who came between you two, right? You investigated me? Huamin stopped in her tracks angrily and glared at Su Yu. Of course not. I heard the nurses at your hospital gossiping. You know that the first hospital and Southside are chain hospitals, so you know what's going on there. I heard it by accident, don't misunderstand me. No matter what Ning Ziyuan does, it's all in the past. What does it have to do with me? Even if he marries the mayor's daughter, it's none of my business. Huamin was still the same as before, as if she was from another world. She looked like a pretentious prick, calm and collected. She always looked like it had nothing to do with her. Su Yu almost hugged her just now. This Huamin was so familiar. This was the Huamin he had loved for so many years. Then you can find a better boyfriend to piss him off. I can't find one. I'm not that good. I can introduce you. Su Yu smiled. No, thank you. What do you think of me? Su Yu volunteered to ask her. To be honest? Yes, to be honest. You're really nothing much. Bad temper, picky food, blabber a lot. You look like a sissy. Most importantly, you have too many women, like a stud horse. Although Huamin didn't like to gossip, he had heard a lot about this man's romantic history in the past few days in Southside. When Su Yu was in a coma in the hospital, there were at least 80 women who came to visit, if not 100. Famous actresses, female hosts, models, socialites, and even the daughters of the fourth-generation officials were all here. Therefore, Huamin felt that he couldn't afford to offend a big shot like Su Yu. Moreover, he didn't have a high opinion of him. He didn't like men who had too many women. He was a playboy by nature. Ahem. What you see isn't me, that's just on the surface. You have to understand the real me deep down. I'm the most affectionate man in the world. Su Yu promised Huamin with a serious expression. Don't talk nonsense. I'm still the most beautiful woman in the world, Huamin teased. In my heart you are. Su Yu blurted out. At that moment, Huamin was slightly stunned. She realized that when Su Yu looked at her, there was something wrong with his gaze. It didn't seem like he was flirting with her. Chapter 45-66. Huamin had always been a girl with a high EQ and IQ. She vaguely felt that the way this man looked at her was a little strange. The reason why it was strange was because she saw deep love in this man's eyes. But how long had this man known her? She had been hospitalized for less than 10 days. How deep could he be? Huamin never believed in love at first sight. She once joked with Zhu Lingling that love at first sight wasn't about feelings, it was about looks. As long as you were good-looking, most men would fall in love at first sight. In Huamin's heart, she believed that love would grow with time. Unfortunately, the person who could make her fall in love with time didn't appear. From middle school to high school, she had been pursued by many boys, but she was rejected by all of them. Huamin wasn't a beauty at first sight. She was just delicate and pretty. But once you got to know her, you might be attracted to her personality and personal charm. A top student like her was like a god in the eyes of many bad boys. Unfortunately, those men weren't Huamin's type. After she went to university, Ning Ziyuan pursued her for 3 whole years. For 3 years, he helped her fetch water, get food, and clean the classroom. Huamin didn't care about Ning Ziyuan's rural background and poor family background. She thought that he was quite reliable, but men were always like this. They looked at what was in the pot and ate what was in the basin. After graduating and working for less than half a year, Ning Ziyuan had an affair with a young nurse. Huamin was glad that she didn't have any physical intimacy with him. In the end, they broke up. Although he pestered her a few times, Huamin rejected him. She always thought that she was an outstanding person, but in the world of love, she always seemed to lack something. In the past, she hated blind dates. Later, when she came to South Side, many patients took the initiative to introduce her. Over time, Huamin silently accepted them, but Su Yu's appearance was like a sudden clap of thunder that disturbed her originally peaceful first half of her life. Su Yu, what is your goal? She asked him. What purpose could I have for asking such a question? You didn't come to South Side to get close to me, did you? No. Su Yu shook his head. There are so many hospitals in the city, why did you come to South Side? I heard that your hospital has good facilities, a good environment, and a lot of girls. Huamin, stop fooling around. I came to South Side because of the first-rate equipment and first-rate doctors. Then why do you seem to be targeting me? Huamin was not stupid. She had a feeling that Su Yu was up to something when he asked her to perform acupuncture and accepted it too frequently. How am I targeting you? I clearly like you, I don't believe you. What are you plotting? Miss Huamin Mian, what do you think I want from you? Tell me, what do you have? Huamin remained silent. She indeed had nothing compared to Su Yu, who had a prominent background. Huamin's background was nothing. Did he ask you to come to me? Huamin lowered her head. Her eyelashes looked beautiful from this angle. Who is he? Su Yu was confused. Huasiqian. He's been trying to contact me, but my mom and I won't forgive him. He's the modern version of Qin Shimi, a scumbag. Huamin commented on her biological father. Yes, in the parallel world, Su Yu had investigated thoroughly. Huamin was Hua Xinghai's biological father. Therefore, there was no Professor or Lu Yen here. It's not him. I don't care about that old man. Su Yu smiled slightly. Chapter 45-67. Forget it, I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. Go back to the ward and rest. Huamin decided not to continue talking nonsense with Su Yu. He felt that he was a glib talker who never spoke the truth. With Huamin's help, Suyu walked faster than before, and originally ran back with the phone to give it to his boss. Then he saw from afar that his boss was being supported by Huamin. He immediately knew his place. He immediately found a place to hide. After Huamin helped Suyu back to the room and left, he jumped out. "Boss, you're flirting with the nurse again." "What do you mean again? You make it sound like I've been flirting with her all the time." Suyu rolled his eyes at an boss phone and obediently handed over the phone. Suyu took it and immediately opened it to look at WeChat. Huamin still didn't add him. "Boss, yes? Are you interested in that nurse?" "You can even tell," Suyu replied absent-mindedly as he played with his phone. "The entire hospital can tell. It's so obvious." And pouted. "Is there a problem?" Suyu looked up at an, "Forgive me for being blunt, but that nurse isn't very good-looking. She doesn't seem to be your type." "What did I like before?" Suyu asked in amusement, and rested his chin on his hand and thought for a moment before saying, "You used to like women who are good-looking, have big butts, big breasts, have long hair, big eyes, can act coquettishly, can coax people, can dance, and can sing. Was I that blind in the past?" "And, anyway, I won't like women like that anymore," Suyu promised seriously. "Then Miss Zhao, Miss Jian, and the others, none of them are my type." "So, boss, you're interested in the nurse and want to woo her? How many months do you plan to keep her fresh this time?" And felt that it might be because the boss had never been in contact with the nurse industry and found it novel. That young nurse also always dissed the boss. That was why he was so interested. But according to the boss's bad temper, he would probably get sick of it in a few months. At that time, he would have to change again. Unexpectedly, this time, Suyu said, "This time, I plan to stay fresh for the rest of my life." "No way. Don't tell me you're going to get married?" And was puzzled. No. I'm going to have a baby." And almost vomited blood when he heard this. Give birth to children? This was a topic that the boss didn't want to talk about before, because everyone knew that Suyu didn't like children. When he saw other people's children, he didn't find them cute. He didn't even have the interest to tease them. Lady Su had once said that she wanted Suyu to get married and have children as soon as possible. At that time, Suyu said that he did not believe in marriage and would not have any children. He hated those naughty people. Now, he took the initiative to say that he wanted to have a baby with the young nurse. Xiaoan felt that his brain capacity was not enough. "Boss, did someone cast a spell on you? I think we should find someone to take a look at you." "Take a look? I'm fine." All right, cut the crap. You can go out. I'm going to take a nap." Suyu was in a good mood. After and left, he talked to Wei Liao and Tang Chuan in the group for a while before taking a good nap. At the on-call desk. "Mian, why do I feel like young Master Su is interested in you?" Another nurse looked at Huamin with envy. "That's impossible. We all know what kind of person Suyu is. He's just teasing us because he's bored. We can't take it seriously. Mian, I think this is a good opportunity. If you have something to do with Suyu, you don't have to be a nurse anymore. Look at those female celebrities at Imperial Star. Which one of them isn't worth tens of millions?" Chapter 4568. After hearing these sour words, Huamin smiled slightly. "He's worth tens of millions, it's fate. I'm just a commoner, I don't want so much." "Mian, this is an opportunity for you. No, I'm a person who knows my place. Young Master Su, a big shot with a halo, is really not suitable for me." Huamin and her colleagues were just chatting, but they were speaking from the bottom of their hearts. Everyone loved money, but it also depended on what kind of money it was. Su Yu's family background was far inferior to Huamin's, not to mention that she was living with her stepfather and brother. So what if she returned to Hua Xinghai's side and was recognized as the daughter of the Hua family? Even if she was a socialite, she might not be happy if she married Suyu. These rich second-generation heirs had been able to do whatever they wanted since they were young. To them, women were just accessories. It was probably faster than changing clothes. Huamin and Zhu Lingling were friends since they were young. Now that Lingling was a flight attendant, She could occasionally come into contact with the rich. A few of Lingling's colleagues married into good families. They weren't considered rich, but they were only worth tens of millions. What kind of life were they living after marriage? They were all people who lived by their mother-in-law and father-in-law's whims. If she didn't have money, it wouldn't be easy for her to marry into a rich family. When Huamin was an intern in the obstetrics and gynecology department at the first hospital, she had seen a rich young madam with her own eyes. When she gave birth, she wanted to perform a C-section because her belly was very big. It was obvious that the child wasn't small. However, her rich mother-in-law said that a normal birth was better for the child and didn't agree. She insisted on a normal birth and didn't let the woman's husband sign the papers. In the end, the woman lost a lot of blood, and both the mother and child died. Then, the family came to the hospital to cause trouble and extorted 50 million yuan. What a jerk! After seeing through the fickleness of those rich people, Huamin didn't expect to find a rich husband. She only hoped to find someone who was nicer to her and her family. She wanted to live a peaceful life, so she didn't want to have anything to do with Su Yu. Su Yu's foot was almost healed, and he was not far from being discharged. Once Su Yu was discharged from the hospital, he would probably forget about her and never come back. Huamin didn't want to be delusional, therefore, in the face of everyone's jokes, he just laughed it off. Inside the ward, Su Yu was thinking about how to get in touch with Huamin more. But he didn't want to arouse her suspicion. After all, this little girl was too smart. They would be alerted to the slightest disturbance. Su Yu wouldn't tell her directly that he was another Su Yu from a parallel world and that in that world he loved her so much that he couldn't help himself. That's why I transmigrated here to start anew with you. Let alone Huamin, no one would believe such words, right? After thinking about it, Su Yu decided to hide everything first, then he would catch up with Huamin first. Recalling that in the other world, Su Yu had a high fever and Huamin stayed with him for a while. Su Yu went to the bathroom to take a cold shower. When he came out, he was freezing. Not only that, he even took the opportunity to turn on the air conditioner. The cold wind was very strong. In an instant, a cold wind blew, and Su Yu kept sneezing. Achoo, achoo, boss, why are you turning on the air conditioner? What are you doing? When he came in, he saw Su Yu sitting on the bed with a blanket draped over his body. His hair was wet. He kept sneezing. I'm training my immune system. No way. You're courting death. If Madam sees this, she'll scold me to death. Don't do this, and was scared out of his wits when he saw his boss torturing him like this. Chapter 4569. It's fine. Madam won't be able to see it because I've already called my mother and told her not to come over for the next few days. I have to deal with work at the hospital. And suddenly felt that his boss's brain had become much sharper after the car accident. So, what should we do now? And panicked when he saw how drenched his boss was. Go to Huamin and tell him that I have a fever. Miss Hu again. And shook his head helplessly. He didn't know what was wrong with his boss, but he fell for the nurse at Southside. Huamin had been on duty all night and was about to get off work when he packed up in the morning. And hurriedly ran over, Miss Hua. What's the matter? My boss has a fever. Go and take a look. I'm off work. But my boss has a fever. Then you can go to another doctor and a nurse who's on duty. Huamin was extremely calm. After all, Su Yu was a man, so it wasn't a big deal for him to have a fever. Boss doesn't want anyone else to give him an injection. He said that their skills aren't good enough. He only wants Miss Hua to do it. It's fine. The fever isn't that bad. There's no need for an injection. He just needs to take some fever medicine. Huamin continued to pack his things. He took off his white coat, put on his coat, and prepared to leave. My boss also said, if Miss Hua is willing to help him reduce his fever, he'll give you an extra 5,000 yuan for overtime. Of course, Su Yu didn't say that. However, and felt that if he didn't say that, Miss Hua probably wouldn't go. As expected, Huamin stopped when he heard the 5,000 yuan for overtime. If that's the case, I'll go with you. After all, Su Yu is my patient. It's not good to see him have a fever, right? and muttered behind Huamin. You make it sound nice, but isn't it all because of the 5,000 yuan for overtime? Although An had made the decision for the 5,000 yuan, he felt that his boss wouldn't blame him. With how obsessed his boss was with Miss Hua. Not only would his boss not blame him, but he would also reward him. In the end, Huamin arrived at Su Yu's ward. However, she was wearing a casual outfit because it was almost time to get off work. Huamin's clothes weren't expensive, but each one of them was decent. At the very least, they suited her and were comfortable to look at. Do you have a fever? It's a little cold. Su Yu was covered in a blanket. Check your temperature. Huamin took out a thermometer. Open your mouth, she said. Huamin put it in and ordered, shut up. Take it out in 5 minutes. Tisestes not to, titisti with titi took off her coat and hung it on the hanger. She placed her bag beside the bed and walked straight to the bathroom. And took the opportunity to come up to him and whispered, I told you she'd only come if you gave her 5,000 yuan for overtime. Otherwise, she would have already gotten off work. Well done. Su Yu was elated, and looked at her and realized that he had made the right move. Su Yu took out her phone and secretly transferred 10,000 yuan to An 5,000 yuan for me to give to Huamin later. That 5,000 yuan is your reward. Also, you can leave now. Come back when Huamin leaves. Don't be a third wheel here. And was speechless. It seemed like his boss was starting to dislike him. And walked out of the room with his phone. Huamin unscrewed the wet towel and glanced at Su Yu. Lie down. Su Yu obediently lay on the bed. Huamin placed the towel on his forehead. Dr. Hua, thank you. I'm not a doctor yet. I'm a nurse. You'll be a doctor sooner or later. No, you'll be the director sooner or later. Su Yu smiled like a flower. Chapter 45-70. Thank you for your kind words. When I become the director, I'll waive your bill if you come for treatment. What do you mean, Huamin? Why would I come for treatment? You jinx. Huamin laughed so hard that he couldn't straighten his back. Then he looked at Su Yu. Not bad, your brain isn't fried yet. You're not stupid. I'm smart. Why would I be stupid? Su Yu looked at Huamin with disdain. Huamin skillfully pulled the thermometer back from Su Yu's mouth before it was about to fall off. Then she glanced at it. Wow, it's indeed amazing. It's already 38.5 degrees. What do you mean? Is that high? Su Yu looked at her eagerly. Yeah, it's quite high. You have to take some fever medicine. Didn't they say that fever medicine hurts the kidneys? I don't want it. So, do you want to burn into a fool, or are you worried about your kidneys? Huamin crossed his arms and looked at this guy helplessly. He knew that he had a lot of girlfriends and even more rumored girlfriends. How could he be worried about his kidneys when he had a fever? Then I'll burn into a fool. After all, my kidneys are very important and must be protected. Su Yu's cheeky smile was obviously teasing Huamin. Stop talking nonsense, take the medicine. Otherwise, I'll give you an injection. It'll stab your butt. Do you want it? Huamin deliberately tried to scare him. No, I won't do it even if you beat me to death. So, injection or medicine, which one do you choose? Can't I get in 4? Su Yu hated the medicine that he had to take in handfuls. It smelled so bad. And 4 is fine, but in your current state, you'll probably need 3 bottles to get your fever down. If you want medicine, a drop of suspension will be enough. Huamin spoke as if he was coaxing a child. Su Yu was suddenly very touched. Huamin was a kind person. No matter what kind of patient she was with, she was very professional and patient. Sure enough, even if she wasn't Professor Lu's daughter, she wasn't that talented. However, she was still the woman that Su Yu loved the most. His initial feelings had not changed. Even though he had transmigrated to 2 different worlds, it was all the same. The name, Huamin, was Su Yu's lifelong belief. I'll leave it to you then. I don't really understand either. Of course it's good to take medicine. The side effects are small and the effects are quick. Wait for me to get the medicine. Here's your money. Su Yu picked up his wallet and was about to flip through the money. She suddenly thought of something and said with a smile, I don't have any cash. Add me on WeChat and I'll transfer the money to you. Huamin looked at her faintly and said, No need. I'll pay for it. Then, he turned around and left handsomely. Su Yu, Huamin guessed that it was probably something that didn't cost much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so straightforward. However, her intentions were clear. Did she not want to add him on WeChat? Why was it so difficult? Su Yu took out his phone and asked in Wei Liao and Tang Chuan's private group chat. Su Yu, hey you two. Tell me, how can I get a girl to add me on WeChat? Wei Liao, oh? You weren't rejected, were you? Tang Chuan, that can't be. Which girl here doesn't know Lord Su's name? If you take the initiative to ask for his WeChat, how many lifetimes of fortune would that girl have accumulated? How could she reject you? Su Yu, ahem, she rejected you. Wei Liao, huh, I'm interested in her. I want to see what kind of woman can reject Su Yu. Tang Chuan, that's right. I, Lord Su, am not an ordinary person. The name Su Yu represents supreme power, money, status, and a prestigious temperament that many people don't have. Su Yu, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and think of a way. Su Yu's domineering aura rose again. Wei Liao and Su Yu in this parallel world were exactly the same as in that world. Therefore, Su Yu really didn't have any grudges and treated them as good brothers. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.